Back in Houston, I'd say Bobby 66.
Bobby?
Yeah.
I think it's beautiful. It's
All
a
right,
great
we'll go
day
with
for
that.
football. We got a fast track, Marv.
Well, the Jaguars won the toss. They defer. The Texans will receive. There is one of the Jaguars' heroes from Monday night, Josh Scobie, who kicked 4 field goals. An incredible performance. 2 from 54, 1 from 51, and he will kick it away to Sherrick McManus, the second-year man out of Northwestern, a 5th-round draft pick last year. A deep kick by Scobie, and it is a touchback. They'll bring it out to the 20-yard line. So the Texans to the offense, and here is Matt Schaub in his 8th year out of Virginia, coming off that terrific game a week ago.
Yeah, Marv, he's answered any questions about his durability by starting all 16 games the past 2 seasons. It hasn't been easy for him so far this season. He's been knocked around a lot, but he's not missed a start. And he told us he was able to stay out in the training room this week. That's a good thing.
Yeah, he had been battered the previous 2 games. Arian Foster. Foster gets the call, picked up a yard, and for Houston, last week, superb job on the offensive line against the Titans. The 6'7" Eric Winston at right tackle, making his 79th consecutive start for the Texans. And we have talked about Arian Foster had an electrifying all-around game last week. The AFC Offensive Player of the Week. Once again, it's Foster. Got tripped up as he came across the 25. He went for 6. Rasheem Mathis, the left corner, making the stop. Jacksonville coming off that excellent defensive effort Monday night against Baltimore. Matt Roth has played well for Aaron Campbell, who's had injury problems. Middle linebacker Paul Posluszny, the former Buffalo Bill, leading the Jaguars in tackles. And the left corner, who you saw a moment ago make that tackle, Rasheem Mathis, with a strong game Monday night against Baltimore. Schaub to throw. Has a first down with Jacoby Jones. That's a 16-yard gain. The safety, DeWan Landry, made the tackle.
Well, they run the ball so well here in Houston. The play action gets a little bit of a hold on the linebacker. They cross the tight end. Look at the big open behind Arian Foster to Jacoby Jones. And when you run the ball so well, there's going to be some big lanes in the middle of the field.
Andre Johnson continues to sit it out for Houston. Jacoby Jones trying to pick up the slack. Comes up with his 15th catch of the season. Again, Foster is bottled up and lost a yard or 2 on the play. Jeremy Mincy, the right defensive end, making the tackle. Houston Texans, half game over Tennessee in the battle for the lead in the AFC South. Titans playing the Colts at home today. Houston with that lopsided victory, the most lopsided win in Texans franchise history, taking place in Nashville last week. We're looking at the offset eye for the Texans. Schaub being chased, his sidearms comes up short. Just looking to get rid of the football. He was chased by Clint Session.
Yeah, they're trying to run the screen. You look at Clint Session. Now the back that's running the screen, it's Arian Foster. He's got to chip him, and that affects the timing in the screen game. Matt does the next best thing, just throw it away in that situation.
3rd down and 12 for Houston. We're just underway. Schaub out of the shotgun formation. Schaub able to step up and complete. Foster making his way toward the marker. It appeared he picked up 12, and that would be the first down. It is.
Well, Arian Foster, equally dangerous as a runner or a receiver, as we saw firsthand last week, Mar. They do a nice job sneaking him out of the backfield. And then he's a tough tackle in the open field. You can see Juwan Landry there having a difficult time.
Texans first down as they cross midfield. They're at the Jacksonville 47-yard line. Here is Foster. Gets inside the 45, picked up 3. Session on the tackle. Arian Foster running for 115 yards on 25 carries last week. Had 119 yards receiving, 3 touchdowns in all. The first player in Texan franchise history to come up with more than 100 yards receiving and rushing in the same game. Yeah, he had a very nice afternoon.
Yeah, I would say that was a pretty decent afternoon. And very efficient, let's just say.
Here's Schaub, wide open receiver in Walter. Kevin Walter, stopped by the 2 safeties, Dwight Lowry and Juwan Landry, goes for 25.
Well, they do a nice job. We'd say plays that look the same and yet are different. And you see the run action. We talked about the hold that it gets on the linebackers. Look at the linebackers there. Now they can't recover. They're sucked up into the line of scrimmage. You see Paul Posluszny, and that's one of the things we talked to him about last night, Marv, how difficult it was going to be to be able to react in the passing game.
Now Walter is flanked wide to the left side. Short set. Pass goes to Walter inside the 15-yard line. Met by the right corner, Derek Cox. And that's good for 8 more.
Well, this is a team that historically has started fast on offense, and I said this to our group on Friday. We were out of watching practice. I thought it was the best Friday practice that I had seen all year. I thought the tempo was great. They were in and out of the huddle. The scout team was flying around. They looked really sharp. And talking to Gary Kubiak afterwards, he said, hey, listen, if it's not right on Friday, I don't feel good on Sunday.
You said that to the group. Was that your staff members?
Everybody. We travel with a big group, Marv.
Here is Foster around the edge, inside the 5. Another Houston first down. Rasheem Mathis with the tackle. Foster adds on 7 more. It'll be 1st and goal for the Texans.
Well, this is the best offensive line they've had since they started playing football once again here in Houston. And we talked so much about Arian Foster last week and Ben Tate. This group up front, Brown and Smith and Myers and Bryce Winston, they have been outstanding. Talking to Jack Del Rio last night, he said it's one of the better offensive lines in football.
Lawrence Pickers, the fullback. Arian Foster, the running back on this 1st and goal. Foster trying to pick his way. And he is gang tackled after a 2-yard gain.
Talk about scripting for success and how important it is. And that's something that a lot of teams do. They script the first 15 or 20 plays so that the players have a sense of what's coming, what's going to come in a 3rd down situation, what's the top run we like down here in this part of the field.
Now James Casey, who's made it back from a chest injury, missed the last 2.5 games, in the lineup. Here's the play fake. Schaub will run. Touchdown Houston. Matt Schaub on the quarterback draw.
Well, this isn't something we see very often out of Matt Schaub. The playing man coverage, Jacksonville. Everyone has their eyes turned towards the line of scrimmage, and Matt does the right thing. He pulls it down and makes a play with his legs. Not something that we see a lot of from Matt Schaub.
And that's the 5th time that Houston has scored on its opening drive this season. Neil Rackers coming on to attempt the extra point. A very impressive start by the Texans. They jump in front 7-0 as we approach the halfway mark of this 1st period. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Nice job by Matt Schaub and the Texans. 12 plays, 80 yards. And Schaub with his first rushing touchdown since back in October of 2008. Brett Hartman back to kickoff duties. Neil Rackers did it a week ago. Returned by D.G. Kareem. And not much there. Good job by the special teams. led by Brian Bremen. 14-yard return by Kareem. We'll take a break. When we come back, it'll be Jacksonville in possession.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. Sprint. All football, no limits. Only from Sprint. And by Acura. Acura. Advance.
They are excited here in Houston with the Texans scoring on their first possession. They have a 7-0 lead. Jacksonville with Blaine Gabbert at quarterback. Starting out first and 10. Maurice Jones-Drew is bottled up. Brian Cushing making the hit. Blaine Gabbert, 6'5", rookie out of Missouri, making his 6th NFL start.
Well, Marv, the original plan was to bring him along slowly, but that went out the window when they released David Garrard at the training camp, and the Luke McCowan experiment didn't quite work out. You get the sense as you watch the tape, he is getting more and more comfortable with the offense each time out.
Fullback Greg Jones in front of Jones-Drew. Pass thrown to the outside, intended for Jason Hill, incomplete. He was covered by the left corner, Kareem Jackson. And a look at Jacksonville up front. Will Rackley, the rookie out of Lehigh, continues to start for the injured Evan Britton. And the Jaguars offense revolving around Maurice Jones-Drew, second in the NFL in rushing yards, trailing only Adrian Peterson. And Rich Maurice, so tough to tackle. Players bounce off him and often can't find him. He goes just 5'7".
Gets lost behind that big offensive line.
3rd and 11. Gabbert in trouble, and he is taken down for a safety. Flag is down. Brooks Reed getting to the quarterback. Let's see what the call deals with. Referee Scott Green. It appeared he was taken down in the end zone pending this flag.
There was no play. There was a foul before the snap. False start. Offense, number 83. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
So the penalty before the snap.
Well, this is not how they want to start. One of the problems that they've really had as an offense, Marv, has been 3rd down. It's very tough on a young quarterback, situational football, but 3rd and 6 plus. They're currently 29th. Really not a surprise when you think about how this is a different animal altogether.
Gabbert out of his end zone. Flag is thrown again as Gabbert is taken down across the 10 by Brooks Reed. Blaine Gabbert Monday night against Baltimore, just 9 for 20, 93 yards, hurt by a couple of drop passes.
Offside. Defense, number 58. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Penalty is on the strong side linebacker Brooks Reed. Reed and Barwin were rotating in the absence of the injured Mario Williams, and now it is Brooks Reed playing the strong side, which was Williams' position.
Yeah, it makes more sense. You know, Brooks not as big, and so they want him up against the tight end, and they moved over Connor Barwin, maybe a little bit bigger player who can take on those bigger tackles.
3rd down and 10. The Jaguars at their 10-yard line.
Well, you can see Jacksonville keeping in 2 backs to help those tackles off with the speed off the edge. That's a real problem. The tackle's struggling a little bit in pass protection.
Gabbert looking left, could not find anyone, and again has to run and slides to the marker. Glover Quinn, the strong safety, on the cover-up, and it appears he picked up the 1st down. He went for 11.
This is one thing that Blaine Gabbert can do. Can make some plays with his legs. A little indecisive here what to do, whether you should slide or go forward. And Looks like he's in a lot of pain there. It was awkward at the end whether he should dive or just slide for the first down.
Well, the training staff out to take a look as Luke McCown, the backup quarterback, starts to throw on the sideline.
Well, we're back here in Houston, and you can see right there Blaine Gabbert not doing so well, Marvin. You can tell why. He gets hit right in the head by Glover Quinn, and then right across the stomach comes Brian Cushing. And you can't tell whether it's his head or it's his ribs. As a young quarterback, you figure out pretty quickly that you've got to be able to get down at the end of runs and protect yourself.
So Luke McCown, who started the first 2 games of the season and then gave way to Gabbert, has come on. The handoff to Jones Drew. Picked up a yard on the play. Luke McCown, originally a 4th-round draft pick of the Browns, spent a year with Cleveland, 4 years with Tampa Bay. This is 3rd year with the Jaguars, for the most part backing up David Garrard. And Richie happens to be from Texas, from a town by the name of Jacksonville, Texas.
Ironically enough.
Yep.
But you know, the thing that he does give you, Marv, he doesn't have the arm strength that Blaine Gabbert has, even the legs and the quickness, but he gives you the experience in the system.
2nd and 9, nearly intercepted by Glover Quinn. It was intended for the tight end, Mercedes Lewis. A look at the Texans defensively. They made the transition to the 3-4. They're very happy with the play of defensive end J.J. Watt, the 1st-round pick out of Wisconsin. The Texans' leading tackler, inside linebacker Brian Cushing, made the Pro Bowl last year. And in the secondary, Troy Nolan starting at free safety for the injured Danielle Manning, who suffered that broken ankle last week. Texans did not put him on injured reserve. They hope that he will be able to return within 4 to 5 weeks. 3rd and 9 for McCown. And he throws it over the head of Mike Thomas, the Jaguars' leading receiver, so the punting team will come on.
Yeah, they need to get a stop from their defense. This is a team right now, they can't afford to get behind early. They need to be able to run the football. They're just not built to come from behind. You look at how they're struggling right now, dead last in passing.
Nick Harris back behind his 10-yard line, and he'll punt it away to Jacoby Jones. Jones shielding his eyes from the sun, back at the 30. Kobe letting it bounce, and it carried out of bounds. The ball back to Houston. 45-yard punt.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Here we go. And by the next generation Honda Civic. To each their own.
Texans back in possession, and they start out from their 33-yard line. Arian Foster, the feature back. Play action, shot pumps, he throws, and has a wide open receiver. Jacoby Jones gets inside the 40-yard line. The right corner, Derek Cox, able to take him down. It's a 28-yard pass play.
Marv, it's amazing. We sit up here and watch. It's incredible how wide open the receivers are. They're doing such a great job with their play action. He wants to throw the ball down the field in the post route, but Jacoby Jones is so wide open between Cox, the corner, and the safety, Landry.
First down for Houston at the Jacksonville 39-yard line. Foster took a hit and able to cut back the other way, eluding a tackler. What a beautiful run as he gets inside the 35. Darrell Smith, the outside linebacker, able to force him out, but a 5-yard pickup by Foster.
Well, you can see right here, during the commercial break, we got a chance to look at Blaine Gabbert. It looks like those ribs may be the issue. He's getting wrapped up. He'll put his flak jacket back on. My sense is he'll begin to start throwing a little bit on the sidelines and try and get back in there.
Foster and Casey are in the backfield. Second down and 5. The toss to Foster, not able to make the turn. Went to the edge. But Paul Posluszny, the middle linebacker, 5-year man from Penn State right there. It's a loss of 2 for Arian Foster. What a combination the Texans have with Foster and Ben Tate. Tate sat out all of last year with that leg injury suffered in the preseason opener, second-round draft pick last season, and he is off to a sensational start.
Yeah, it's how they utilize both backs. I mean, they start with Arian Foster. When he needs a blow, they bring in a fresh body and Ben Tate. They both bring a little something different to the table. Foster more the speed guy, Tate more the power guy.
Third down and 7. Here they come. Schaub throws. Oh, beautiful catch, but it appeared to be out of bounds. Kevin Walter made the catch, but it is called incomplete.
Well, you know, that's one that Matt Schaub would like to have back. You just got to give him a little bit more room on the boundary. I don't know that left foot ever comes in. Oh, it's pretty close, though. You can see him try to tap it. I don't know. I think he taps the white. What a great effort, though, by Kevin Walter.
Question is, did he get the 2 feet in bounds? No challenge being called for here by Gary Kubiak, and now he does. Got the word from upstairs. His coaching staff say, hey, you know, that might be worth taking a look at.
Well, they're moving the ball so well right now.
Houston is challenging the ruling on the previous play.
Well, we know his right foot's in when he catches that ball. Now watch to see if he taps that left toe. And it looks kind of like he does. Great concentration on the boundary by Kevin Walter. Well, this was a very difficult one to call. We had to go back and look at it from 5 or 6 different angles. But you watch right at the end, it doesn't seem as if his foot actually comes in the playing surface. Looks like it touches the white.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field is confirmed. It's an incomplete pass. The receiver did not get his left foot down inbounds. Houston will be charged with a timeout.
Well,
sets up a 4th and 7 at a punting situation.
Yeah, it just happened so fast you could hardly tell, but what a great effort, though, trying to tap that left foot back in. Certainly Rashean Mathis pushing him doesn't help at all either.
Brett Hartman at midfield, and Mathis back for the punt. Good hang time, and a fair catch at the 10. .325 remaining first quarter, 7-0 Texans, and Blaine Gabbert will give it a shot, making his way back. Reminder this week, Dave's all new with Ben Stiller, NCIS star Mark Harmon, and tomorrow Jesse Eisenberg, followed by The Late Late Show with Craig Ferguson, only CBS. He's ready early for Halloween. I know you get things ready around the house.
I got my outfit in the bag.
A lot of complaints, though, in your neighborhood, I'm told, for the inexpensive candy that you distribute.
Right. I just put rocks in the bag.
And I know that you've been pressured for an upgrade. Here's Gabbert on first down, and he completes for the first down just inside the 25-yard line, able to hit Jarrett Dillard, the 3-year man out of Rice, on a 12-yard gain.
And this is what they need to do more of, throw the ball on first down. When you're struggling a little bit and you're running the ball so much, you've got to break those tendencies, and there's opportunities because you're going to get so much one-on-one man coverage on the outside.
Fumbled by Maurice Jones-Drew, who had his problems holding on to the ball against the Ravens on Monday night. Mercedes Lewis, the tight end, on the recovery. There were 3 fumbles committed by Jones-Drew. He lost just 1, but it's very unusual to see him not able to hold on to the football.
Well, it really is, because he's not a fumbler, and I think what's happening is he knows that the safety's not blocked. You see Glover Quinn down there, and Maurice is a smart guy. He knows they're 1 short in their protection scheme, and he knows he's going to get hit in the hole. So he's peeking. He's got to seat the ball from Blaine Gabbert. That's a good handoff. But Maurice has got his eyes up because he knows that they're 1 short.
Coming up on 2.5 remaining in this first quarter. Looks like Brooks Reed being checked out. Despite finishing the game with 105 rushing yards, Maurice Jones-Drew struggling with hanging out of the football, as I mentioned this past Monday night. Fumbled 3 times, had that one loss of the ball. Jones-Drew last year ran for 1,300 yards to lead the NFL's 3rd best rushing attack. He missed the last 2 games with knee problems.
That's not a good graphic. You look at the 6 fumbles this season. We talked to Dirk Cutter, his offensive coordinator, last night. He said that MJD went up to him after that game on Monday night and apologized. He felt so bad that he put the ball on the ground. Gotta take care of the rock. And he's been as good as there is in the game at protecting the football.
2nd down and 10. Jaguars from their 23. Long count. Here they come. And Gabbert's throw was deflected. Intended for Martin Rucker, backup tight end.
Well, they're bringing pressure already, and that's something you want to find out about the young quarterback. Can he handle it? Does he have answers? Is he able to change the protection? Does he know where his quick answer throw is? And that's what's going to happen. If you don't handle it, trust me, you'll see plenty more from Wade Phillips.
Rich, do you see a question about Gabbert's footwork? I know he likes to work out of the shotgun. He's used to that spread offense from his college days at Missouri, and again he's out of the gun and in trouble, and it is deflected. Off the hands of Mercedes Lewis, covered by Quentin Dempsey. And Mercedes Lewis has had his difficulties this season.
Yeah, he has. He's really struggled. And here's a guy that went to the Pro Bowl last year, had 10 touchdowns. And we talked about footwork, Marv, and I think he's been inconsistent. And you see right there falling away, not trusting the protection. You've got to be able to sit in there and make tough throws, knowing that you're going to get hit after it leaves your hands.
Jacoby Jones, back deep, takes it to 35. Picking up a good block, but he's cut off, had no angle. Greg Jones on the stop, 42-yard punt, just a 1-yard return. So the Texans back onto the field, coming off that 41-7 rump over Tennessee, and both Arian Foster, Ben Tate going for 100+ apiece. 32 players in NFL history have had 100 yards rushing and receiving in the same game. So Ollie Matson of the Chicago Cardinals back in 1954. Walter Payton did it. Holmes, Brian Westbrook. And this is Tate making the turn. A flag is thrown to the backfield. I love the grainy footage when you see Ollie Matson
Personal
put
foul.
the speed on.
Offense, number 74, grabbing the face mask. 15-yard penalty. First down.
It's called on the left guard, Wade Smith.
You're just going to see right on the left side, Wade Smith, he just grabs right at the end there. You can't do that. You see Tyson Alualu, he's just trying to get to the edge and stop Ben Tate.
Sets it back to a 1st and 25, and it nullifies that a run by Tate. Schaub is taken down. C.J. Mosley appeared to get to him first. Mosley, 7-year man out of Missouri, defensive tackle, making for a loss of 9.
Well, just keep an eye on C.J. Mosley. He's just going to work inside on the right guard, Mike Reisel. He just beats him right across his face. Matt's not able to step up and make a good throw, and they've done a much better job protecting Shaw, but a lot of it has been outside the pocket, off the rolls, the boots, and the nakeds.
2nd and 33. This is Tate breaking to the outside. He is a powerful runner with speed. Ben Tate, second-year man from Auburn, stopped by Drew Coleman, went for 12.
Both these backs do a really good job. If it's not there up inside, they both have enough speed to get on the edge. We see Arian Foster do it a lot, Ben Tate as well, and that's why it's so important for Jackson. We talk about setting the edge of your defense, forcing these backs up inside where you know you have help.
3rd, 21, as you see, just 40 seconds left in this first quarter. Texans have a 7-0 lead. Foster on a quick handoff, but nothing there. Well, a little reaction from the crowd on that play.
They want you to throw it, but it's 3rd and 21. You're Gary Kubiak. You're up 7-0. You want to pick up some positive yards, screen or draw in that situation, and play the field position game here a little bit.
And we come to the end of the first quarter. So after one here at Reliant in Houston, Texans getting right to it on their first possession, have a 7-0 lead on Jackson. Back in Houston, Marv Albert, Rich Gannon out of the second quarter. Houston with a 7-0 lead on Jacksonville. Mike Thomas back deep, and he is back as Jacksonville's punt returner. Made his return Monday night against the Ravens. And it is down inside the 30-yard line by Sherrick McManus. 47-yard punt, no return. Coming up on the Sprint halftime report, join JB, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, and Coach Bill Cowher. They'll have all the latest NFL scores and highlights coming up on the Sprint halftime report.
Well, they've had a tough time, Marv, generating any big plays in the passing game. Not much out of the tight end, the receivers as well. And that's the problem they have right now. We know they can run it. The question is, can they throw it?
Gabbert and the Jaguars starting out at their 29-yard line. On play action, Gabbert throwing behind the intended receiver, Mike Sims Walker, who's covered by Jason Allen. Now, talking yesterday with Blaine Gabbert, he walked into the room with a big smile, wearing a St. Louis Cardinal hat, enjoying the Cardinals World Series victory.
Yeah, he's excited, but you know there's problems here. They got a rookie quarterback, a new quarterback coach, new receiver coach, no off season, no reason why they're struggling right now, other than the fact that they've not worked a lot together.
Maurice Jones-Drew picks up a 4 on the play. Cody and Cushing combined pick up the tackle.
Well, we looked at the graphic again, and I just thought this. I sat in my hotel room, Marv. I made this graphic up last night. Give me some credit. Yeah, well, I said we talked to him. I said, you got a rookie quarterback. You've got a new quarterback coach in Mike Shepard that's never worked with Dirk Cotter. You've got a new receivers coach in Johnny Cox. No offseason whatsoever, and they're last in the National Football League in passing. And you shouldn't be surprised. They've not worked a lot together, and that's the problem. We talk about continuity, consistency, production at the quarterback position. Well, when you've not worked together, you're going to have problems.
Looks like Darryl Sharpton, the backup linebacker for Houston, is shaken up, and they're checking him out. So, in effect, of most significance regarding that graphic, as a lonely guy, you sat in your hotel room for 5 hours, and that is all you came up with.
Working on graphics, Marv. Well, back here in Houston, and you find that things happen so quick in the trenches, and you see Darryl Sharpton as he lays on the ground, and I don't know that he ever saw Waneri come off. You're going to see him right in the middle of your screen, and then watch the right leg. I don't know if it's an ankle or a knee. It just kind of bends awkwardly as he gets walked back by the right guard.
Darryl Sharpton has made it back from shoulder surgery, 4th-round pick last season out of the University of Miami. Plays as a backup linebacker.
Well, you can see with the air cast on the right leg, they do such a good job now, the medical folks getting out there and making sure they stabilize that right leg and take him in for x-rays, and we hope he's okay.
Third down and 6. Again, out of the shotgun, Gabbert. Incomplete through the hands of Jarrett Dillard.
Well, they've really struggled on third downs, and you just watch Dillard. He's going to run a little under route coming back across the formation, and he knows that he's got to be able to throttle down, but Blaine's got to make a more accurate throw. It's very difficult to catch the ball behind you when you're working towards the middle of the field.
Third punt for Nick Harris. Kobe Jones backpedals to the 20 and has some open room. It's the punter, Nick Harris, who forced him out. 47-yard punt. 19-yard return. Houston up since we'll start out from their 39-yard line. They have a 7-0 lead on Jacksonville, just getting underway. Second quarter. Arian Foster in the backfield. Play fake to Foster. Schaub throwing the deep ball and overthrows Kevin Walter. Was covered by the right corner, Derek Cox.
Really nice job here by Derek Cox. I mean, this scares you. He knows he's in one-on-one coverage, and Matt Schaub wants to throw this post, but look at Derek Cox recover and catch up. Walter's not going to make that catch anyway, but really nice job by Cox. They play so much man-to-man coverage with these two corners, Rasheem Mathis and Derek Cox.
Cox returning Monday night after missing 3 games with a groin injury, made his return against the Ravens. Schaub with a deep drop. Schaub in trouble. And throws it away. All right, time for an NFL Today update. Let's go to JB and Shannon Sharp.
Cam making up one earlier fumble. He completed a 26-yarder to Steve Smith down to the 1. It sets up this, JB, a 1-yarder. Cam Newton, Jeremy Shockey. We got a tie ball game in Carolina, 7-7.
Cam's 9th touchdown toss of the season. Panthers had 9 all of last year. Back to Marv Albert and Rich Gannon.
Well, guys, he's such a dual threat down there. He can run it or throw it. He's been outstanding so far for the Panthers.
Third down and 10 for the Texans. There's Schaub for Jones, broken up. Derek Cox got a piece of it in a foot race with Jacoby Jones.
Well, better throw, gets it done there. A little bit underthrown by Matt Schaub, but we talked about Derek Cox. The nice thing here is he doesn't panic. You see a lot of corners when they get beat, they panic. Does a nice job turning back at the last second, just locating it, doing enough to get that ball out.
So here is Brett Hartman getting set to kick it away to Mike Thomas. And Thomas lets it fly over his head and carried into the end zone and will go down as a 61-yard punt with that roll. Early second quarter here in Houston. We'll be right back. Houston Texans scored on an impressive opening drive, and that has been it to this point. They have a 7-0 lead on the Jaguars. And here's Blaine Gabbert. Completes for the first down. He has Mike Thomas. Blaine Gabbert with only his second completion, 2 out of 7. That was good for 12 yards. Well, for more than 30 years, it's the show that the pros watch. NFL Films, highlights, plus hard-hitting analysis inside the NFL. That's Wednesdays on Showtime. First down for the Jaguars. Maurice Jones-Drew alongside Blaine Gabbert. And Gabbert's pass deflected. Looked like Connor Barwin, the weak side linebacker, got a piece of it. Blaine Gabbert, a first-round pick, 10th overall selection. And Rich, I think at the time it was thought that he would go higher than 10.
Well, I think that you go back, there's so much that goes into scouting and analyzing these quarterbacks. And Marvy spent most of his career, all of his career at Missouri in that spread offense. I think he struggled a little bit learning how to play under center.
And we see him under center here as he hands off to Jones-Drew, has been quiet to this point. Barwin on the stop. Jones-Drew went for 6 on that play.
It's such a different game when you think about being in the gun all the time. What it does is it limits your ability in the running game. And so in the pro-style offenses, much more of it is under center. And that's where footwork and timing and rhythm come into the passing game. And right now, that's an area where he's got to get better. And talking to Jack Del Rio, the big thing, he needs to be more consistent.
Looking at a 3rd and 4. And they're spread out. Bullet pass beautifully thrown for a first down across the 45 to Mike Thomas, and that is good for 7.
And not something we see a lot of from this Jacksonville offense, where they go no back, they get 5 receivers out because they've been so protection conscious with Blaine Gabbert. One thing I'm seeing already, Marv, the accuracy on his throws. He's only completing 48%, and he's missed a lot of throws on the back shoulder.
Fullback Greg Jones in the backfield with Maurice Jones-Drew. The offset eye, but Gabbert looks to throw and throws up top, overthrows. Intended for Mike Sims Walker, who's back with the Jaguars. He played Monday night against the Ravens. He had spent 3 years with Jacksonville, left for St. Louis, and now he's back in Jacksonville.
Well, an 8-man protection. They're trying to throw a double move. What happens here, he simply makes up his mind ahead of time. And it's a 2-man route, and they're guessing on first down. If it's not there, he's got to throw it away. But it'd be nice to work back inside to one of those backs on a check down and get some positive yardage.
2nd down and 10 at the Jacksonville 45-yard line. Nice catch made. No, apparently he did not hold on. Maurice Jones-Drew not able to hang out of that pass that was thrown to the outside, so it is incomplete.
You got to remember now you're throwing to a 5'7" running back. You got to put it on him, and that's the big thing. You talk about accuracy for these quarterbacks. What happens is everything's moving so fast. The speed of the game much different than what he was used to in college, and the complexity of these defenses. It's hard to make it slow down.
3rd down and 10 for Gabbert. Facing pressure and has to throw it away. Brooks Reed, strong side linebacker, rookie out of Arizona, chasing fellow rookie Blaine Gabbert.
Well, I'm surprised he doesn't throw it here. He's got Brooks Reed there, but he's also got Mercedes Lewis. You've got to be able to make the difficult throws. See Jack over there talking to him on the sidelines.
4th punt of the day for Nick Harris. Jacoby Jones is back in the 2nd quarter. He's out of the sunshine field. Lets it carry over his head into the end zone to bring it out to the 20. That will be recorded as a 55-yard punt. We'll step away. You're watching the NFL on CBS.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by DirecTV. Switch now and get a whole home DVR upgrade for free. And by New York Life Insurance Company.
A reminder, you can get scores and manage CBS Sports fantasy football teams on your mobile phone. To get the free app, simply call **CBS or go to cbssports.com/mobile. Texans starting out at their 20-yard line. Foster looking for a hole, and the Jaguars, since that opening series where Houston was able to march down the field for 80 yards and a score, done a nice job since then. 3-yard pickup for Foster. It'll be a 2nd down and 7.
Yeah, they've played much better, Marv. That first drive, Houston goes 12 plays, 80 yards. Since then, they've really struggled. 3 straight punts. They buckled down and played like they did a little bit last week. They're doing a much better job on the early downs, stopping the run.
Jones to the right. The tight end Daniels now in motion, lines up in the slot. Foster able to slither his way through across the 25-yard line, met by Clint Session, the outside linebacker. So Foster picks up 4.
Well, you look at the first 4 possessions, as we talked about. Made it look easy on that first one, but since then they have really struggled. Matt Schaub has missed a bunch of throws, 4 straight incompletions. Done a much better job. The defensive line has really, I think, neutralized a little bit, and they're getting penetration, making things very difficult for those Houston backs.
Now Foster, you see, is in motion, rejoins the backfield. Here's Schaub right at the marker, connecting with Kevin Walter, a diving catch for 4 and a 1st down.
Well, he's got a great feel. They're just running stick. Tight end's going to work out. We got a flat receiver in Kevin Walter, and talk about understanding situational football down and distance. Kevin Walter knew exactly where those sticks were.
Kevin Walter, originally a 7th-round draft pick of the Giants, spent 3 years with Cincinnati. This is 6th season with the Texans, making his 3rd catch for 37 yards and a 1st down. Play fake. Schaub throwing deep downfield. Intended for Jacoby Jones. We're set for an update. Once again, JB, Shannon Sharp.
Arizona, the Cardinals are flying right now, Shannon.
This is what made Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie expendable. Not only can this guy play corner at 220 pounds, runs a 4.3, 240, JB, he can bring it back. His 2nd one of the season. 82-yard punt return. Ravens, you're in trouble. 17-3, Arizona.
Shannon, normally I hear you say he's picking up and
Putting them down.
putting them down. Marv Albert, Rich Gannon.
Well, man, when you're struggling on offense, a big return in the kicking game can get you right back in it.
Big hole for Foster. Just shy of the marker from our angle. Ball is placed at just across the 40. Picked up 9. Paul Posluszny making the tackle. So it's a 3rd and a yard.
I really like Paul Posluszny. I think that was a mistake for Baltimore. I'm sorry, for Buffalo to let him go. He's been really a good fit in the middle of this defense and leads them in tackles. I think he brings some leadership and some toughness to that group.
Posluszny back from 2 broken arms the last 4 seasons. He is very tough. And tackle of Foster. They try to stack him up as he battles for the 1st down. Looked like Tyson Alu, the defensive tackle on the left side, was the first to get to him.
Well, I want you to look at the 2 tackles. First of all, look at Knighton and Alulu right in the middle of your screen. They do a good job taking on double teams, taking on the cut blocks, and getting good push and penetration. They've really played well. You talk to Jack Del Rio about pot roast the season that he's had, Terrence Knighton in the middle. So the 2 young tackles are playing really well.
It is a 1st down. 1st down across the 40. 7:20 to go in this 2nd quarter. Foster accelerating. Gets to the 45-yard line. Picked up 3. And we'll go back to New York. JB, Shannon Sharp.
Reggie Bush said, what about his squad, Shannon?
Early in the week, he said, we stink. Jeremiah Bell said, no, you stink. He says, Am I running like I stink now? 35-yard, tackle on a personal foul. Matt Moore sneaks it in, 14-3. Wins, Danny.
Dolphins smelling sweet right now. Back to Marv and Rich.
Rich, you know, Shannon certainly has a way of capturing
He
things.
does. He's a beauty.
Second down and 7. That was supposed to be play action. Schaub took a hit, lost the ball. Little flip back the other way. Another flip. A wild play as Clint Session ends up with the football.
What a great effort. It starts with Clint Session. Look at this effort. He gets cut, he dives, he stays with the play, he knocks it out. There's Matt Roth. He's going to pick it up. He flips it back to Potrose. Potrose flips it back to Session again. And this is stuff that they actually work on in practice, these big guys. Boy, what a smart play by Roth. And when you're struggling on offense, Marv, a big play from your defense is all you need to get right back in it.
Little razzle-dazzle after the Jaguars' second sack of the season, and they take over 1st and goal. Jones-Drew, trying to follow a blocker, gets inside the 5-yard line, picked up 3.
Well, I love what Dirk Cutter, the offensive coordinator, said last night about Maurice Jones-Drew, the prettiest 3-yard runs you've ever seen, and he'll do it over and over again during the course of the game. And those 3-yard runs eventually become 4- and 5-yard runs as you begin to wear a defense down during the course of a game.
Jaguars to the line, led by their veteran center, Brad Meester. They have Jones-Drew and Greg Jones in the backfield, lined up in the I formation. Gabbert throws. Touchdown. Jason Hill on a 5-yard pass play with his 3rd touchdown catch of the season. And it all started with the sack by Session. Little razzle-dazzle.
Well, he starts him over, then he works right back. Little option route by Jason Hill, and it's too much for Kareem Jackson. He got caught with his eyes in the backfield.
Josh Scobie looking to tie it. And he does. So the Jaguars have tied the game at 7 with just under 6 minutes to play in this first half. All right, it all started here with the sack. Session gets credit for the sack. And a little flip here, a little flip there. Session ends up with it, leading to this, the touchdown throw to Jason Hill. So the Jaguars, who were able to come up with a victory Monday night against the Ravens without scoring a touchdown, score right here. How about that game Monday night? Not artistic. Jacksonville and Baltimore combining for 16 punts, 16 penalties, 6 fumbles, 4 of 28 on 3rd downs. Not pretty. McManus takes it in the end zone. They move it out to the 20-yard line. And tonight on The Amazing Race, teams travel to Africa. And for this former NFL star and his wife, it'll be an experience they'll never forget. New Amazing Race, that's tonight only on CBS. Ben Tate now in the backfield for the Texans, coming on for Arian Foster. Houston 1st and 10 from their 20-yard line. Coming up on 5.5 remaining in this first half, and the game is tied at 7. Here's Tate. Picks up 3 on the play. And Rich, how about this Jaguar defense?
Well, you look at the first 7 games and how well this group has played. And you know, last year they really struggled, Marv. Not great in the run, really bad defending the pass. Much better this year. And of course, they went out and spent a lot of money in free agency. They spent $100 million, brought in some key players, key additions, those 2 safeties, Landry and Lowry, and of course, Kozlowski and Session. You guys have made a big difference in the middle of this defense.
2nd down and 7. Bullet pass off the mark, intended for Walter. Now the Jaguars have been dramatically overhauled. The record is just 2-5. They dropped 5 in a row before the win on Monday night, but 80 of the 90 players on the roster that reported to training camp had no more than 3 years experience.
That's a young team, and they started a couple of years ago trying to address the offensive line and the defensive line. Last year, Jack went out and got the linebackers and safeties that he needed, and they're playing much, much better. Don't let the record fool you. This is a very good defense.
3rd down and 7. Schaub, and it's broken up. Intended for the tight end, Owen Daniels. Dwight Lowry, the safety.
This is really where they're a lot better. Yeah, this is really where they're a lot better, Marv. You see Lowry, he's going to match up with Owen Daniels. Look at this tight coverage. And, you know, they're making fewer mistakes on the back end, fewer missed tackles. They're in a position to make more plays. And I think their confidence has grown as a unit because of the addition of both Lowry and Landry.
4th punt by Hartman. Thomas taking it in the bright sunshine. Flag is thrown. Nice return. And then Thomas able to tiptoe his way out of bounds. 43-yard punt, 12-yard return. But there is a penalty marker down.
During the run back, illegal block in the back. Number 34, 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. 1st down.
It's called on T.J. Heath. Referee Scott Green, 21st year in the NFL. Attended your alma mater, University of Delaware. I noticed you guys earlier had that secret blue hen handshake.
Fighting blue hens, that's it. A long line of illustrious referees and officials in the National Football League from the great state of Delaware. Our first state to ratify the Constitution, Mark. I know you knew that.
You know, we've kind of heard enough.
Okay, let's move on to some football.
It's a lot of information. Maurice Jones-Drew finding a hole. Met by the free safety Troy Nolan. So Jones-Drew with his best run of the half, picking up 9. Coming up next, Tom Brady and the Patriots take on Big Ben, and the Steelers. Browns go up against the 49ers, or it's the Bengals and the Seahawks. As they say, check your local listings. We're approaching 4 minutes to go in this first half. Jacksonville and Houston are tied at 7. Jones-Drew appears to be short of the first down. Brian Cushing on the stop.
I thought it was interesting in talking to Brian Cushing on Friday about why it's so difficult to play against a back like Maurice Jones-Drew. And you mentioned it, Marv. He gets lost behind that big offensive line. He uses his height to his advantage.
5'7", but a very powerful runner, 208 pounds. Maurice Jones-Drew in a 6th season out of UCLA. They're going to measure to see whether Jones-Drew did pick up the first down.
The lower half of his body is where he generates a lot of his power and his torque. He's got 2 tree trunks for legs.
And you saw the indication just shy by inches.
He runs with great balance. You talk about he's so strong and powerful for a small back. I think pound for pound, one of the toughest players in the game. He's been the centerpiece of this offense for a long, long time, and doesn't get a lot of help right now in the passing game. Kind of a one-dimensional offense right now. They run the ball so well, and yet they've really struggled. Look at how many men up around the line of scrimmage. They've got everybody committed to stopping the run.
Quarterback sneak, and a flag is down. 2 flags, 3 on the field.
Full start. Offense. Left guard. 5-yard penalty. First down. 3rd down.
called on Will Rackley, who's playing for the injured Evan Britton.
Well, they could have called this on either the right or the left guard, Lanieri or Rackley. They both moved, and there's no reason for it. Blaine Gabbert's right next to him. He should have no problem hearing the cadence.
Jaguars set back to a 3rd and 6 at their 33-yard line. Once again, an empty backfield for Jacksonville. Here they come. Abbott able to connect for the first down. He has Maurice Jones-Drew running to the far side, met by Troy Nolan. Gain of 11 and a Jaguar first down. Jacksonville has really picked it up here in the second quarter.
Yeah, this is the matchup they want. Maurice Jones-Drew on the safety, Nolan. And this is the same throw he missed before. Comes right back with the same play and makes a perfect throw to MJD.
MJD.
Well, we're buddies. You know, it's a nickname I have for him.
It's called saving time.
It is, right? More efficient.
All right, Gabbert down the middle for a completion. Beautiful throw to Mercedes Lewis for another first down. He was covered by Troy Nolan. Mercedes Lewis coming into today, Rich, with just 11 catches, no touchdowns, had 10 touchdown receptions last year, and made the Pro Bowl.
And this is one of the problems I think they have right now in the offense. They've got to get the tight end more involved. He's such a big target at 6'6" in the middle of the field. He should have at least 6 or 8 catches each and every week.
First catch of the day, good for 21. Now Kareem is in the backfield, takes the handoff. Deji Kareem, second year out of Southern Illinois, stopped by Brooks Reed. Picked up just a yard as we come up on 2 minutes to go in this first half. We are in Houston. Texans and Jaguars, 7 apiece. Welcome back to Reliant Stadium, Houston, Texas. Marv Albert, Rich Gannon. 2 minutes to play in this first half. Jaguars stay with Deji Kareem. They have a second down and 9 at the Houston 35. Gabbert looking sharper as this game has progressed and connects again to short of a first down. He has Mercedes Lewis.
Boy, he does a nice job sitting in here. Knows he has protection. He's got the one-on-one matchup. He's wanting Mercedes Lewis on the safety, Troy Nolan. Well, he settled down a little bit. You know, if you think back to when he got hurt, he had to leave the game with a little bit of a rib injury, but since then he's done a much better job, I think, focusing in, sitting in there with a tough jaw and making some good accurate throws down the field.
Connecting twice with Lewis, who goes 6'6" with 4'5" inches on Troy Nolan, who has been covering. Here's the pitch to Kareem, puts the speed on and has a first down. Nolan made the stop, 5 on the game for Kareem. A 6th-round draft pick last season out of Southern Illinois. Another small running back at 5'8", 209 pounds.
Yeah, and it's he doesn't get a ton of carries because Maurice Jones-Drew he's a rep hog. He wants the ball, and he wants to be in there on every single play, whether it's run or pass.
A rep hog.
He's like a Peyton Manning. He's the Peyton Manning of running backs. He never wants to come out of a game.
Gabbert. It is picked off. Picked off by Cushing. Brian Cushing with the interception of Blaine Gabbert. Intercepted for the 3rd time this season. And Cushing comes up with his first intercept of the year. So Houston will take over with 1:02 left in this first half.
I think Connor Barwin gets a tip of this ball. Certainly he does, and that falls right in the hands of Brian Cushing. And really nice job by Brian Cushing. This is not an easy play. Catches it behind his body. He's a very athletic linebacker. He can make a lot of plays in space.
Texans from their 26-yard line. Job getting protection. Completes this shy of the 45. Kendrick Walter on the catch for 17 in front of Derek Cox. Clock is running. We're down to 45 seconds. Texans do have their 3 timeouts remaining. And Schaub able to dump it underneath. He has Derek Mason this time. And now they take a timeout with 36 seconds to play in this first half. Coming up on the Sprint halftime report, JB, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, Coach Bill Cowher will have all the latest NFL scores and highlights coming up on the Sprint halftime report. So the Texans hoping to get within field goal range for that guy, Neil Rackers, who on the season is 14 of 15, hit on both attempts last week against Tennessee from 32 and 29. His long is 54.
He's almost automatic from inside 45. That's really where they need to get.
Arian Foster returns to the Texan backfield. Schaub broken up. Incomplete, intended for Mason. Covered by Lowry. Derek Mason, who came over from the Jets in a trade, a 2-time Pro Bowl wide receiver. He goes back to the old Tennessee Oilers. He's the last active player to wear an Oilers uniform.
They were originally drafted by the Houston Oilers. Played a lot of good football for not only Tennessee, but Baltimore, and now here in Houston. Very good in these situations, third down. It's a nice job working in the middle of the field.
Picked up in the absence of the injured Andre Johnson. And that is complete. Owen Daniels, the tight end, makes the catch at the 40. So a first down for Houston with 24 seconds remaining in this first half, and the Texans have taken a timeout, and we're told that is now their final timeout.
Well, you talk about working together, and what happens is Derek Mason, he's going to start on the under first. He clears things out, and then Owen Daniels works in right behind him. You can see a nice hole there for Matt Schaub.
Texans had lost one timeout on that challenge. So they've used all 3, and they have a first down at the Jacksonville 41-yard line. And have some time here with 24 seconds to set it up for Rackers. Game is tied at 7. Schaub completes. Again, it's Daniels inside the 30. That's by the combination of Landry and Brzezinski. That's a 13-yard pickup. They go to the line to stop the clock. Down to 9 seconds.
Yeah, I don't think there's any decision here. You got no timeouts left. You can't afford to even throw a ball in the boundary and have the receiver be tackled in the field of play. So you bring out Rackers and let him do his thing.
The angle will be to the left. I mentioned 14 of 15 on the season. This is a 46-yard attempt for the 12-year man out of Illinois. And this one is no good. Off to the right. Rackers not able to convert from 46, so the Jaguars will take over with 4 seconds to go in the half.
Looks like he hit it funny. Just hit it a little fat. See how high that thing jumped up on the screen there? And it's way right. We talked about him being so good from inside 45, 46 yards, Marv. I got in my notes here, he's made 63 of his last 64 kicks from inside 45. He was just outside of 45.
And the Jaguars just run that clock down. So at the half, the Texans and the Jaguars are tied at 7. We'll be back with the Sprint halftime report after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS.
On third down, Marv, and that's not allowed them to keep drives alive.
The numbers shop 10 of 20, 139 yards. Gabbert 7 for 17, a touchdown and an interception, 75 yards. Arian Foster 14 carries for 41 yards. And that ends up as a touchback. They'll bring it out to the 20-yard line.
Well, Jacksonville's got to feel pretty good about being in this game with the tie scored 7-7. You'll look at what they did offensively. Not a ton of production here, a bunch of 3-and-outs, some punts, and they get the benefit of the turnover where they're able to go in and score. But they've got to get it going here a little bit. And the big thing is it's Maurice Jones-Drew. He's been very, very quiet in the first half, just 22 yards on 7 carries.
Meanwhile, Blaine Gabbert, who was knocked out of the game briefly, Luke McCown forced to come on. But Gabbert has really picked it up. He's looked sharp. Jones-Drew ran it for 5, met by J.J. Watt.
Well, it's been a pretty straightforward game plan for the Texans defense, and stop Maurice Jones-Drew and force the hand of the rookie quarterback, Blaine Gabbert. They're not going to let Maurice Jones-Drew run the football. They've done a good job with their 7-man fronts and even 8-man fronts with that safety creeping down right before the snap. So much single high safety.
Gabbert's throw over the head of the tight end Mercedes Lewis, covered by Cushing. Jacksonville Jaguars at 2-5. It's the first of 3 straight road games, off week in between. They pulled off that surprise, beating the Ravens this past Monday night on 4 field goals by Josh Scobie. Jacksonville's 2 wins opening day against Tennessee, and then this past Monday night in between, they lost 5 in a row. 3rd down and 5 for the rookie out of Missouri, Blaine Gabbert. And he's in trouble. Down he goes. First sack of the day for the Texans. It is Brooks Reed with his 2nd sack of the season.
You're just going to see Brooks Reed right off the edge. He does a nice job. He's going to beat the tackle, Wimper, and it's just all quickness. And that's why they've got Brooks Reed in that position going up against that open side tackle.
Kobe Jones back deep. And it's a short punt. It bounces across the 40 and as a flag down way back inside the 5.
Running into the kicker, 98. It's a 5-yard penalty.
Connor Barwin called for running into the kicker.
Well, just keep an eye on Connor Barwin. He gets a clean shot right up the middle of the defense, and oh, he just misses it, but you can't do that. Oh, he just barely touches him. I don't know about all that. Really? I call that roughing the punter? That's a bad call, is it not? Even running into him.
Nice job by Nick Harris, the punter.
Get an Emmy for that. Or an Oscar. Which one is it, Marv? Help me out.
Maybe a Tony.
Maybe a Tony. That's pretty good.
And they will re-kick. Nick Harris in his 11th season out of California. Originally a 4th-round pick by the Denver Broncos. Spent 7 years with Detroit. Signed by Jacksonville several weeks back, replacing Matt Turk because Harris is more of a directional punter. That's what Jack Del Rio was seeking. Cleanly gets it away, and Kobe had to back up. Finding running room. Beautiful return by Jacoby Jones. 50 56-yard punt. 33-yard return. Montel Owens closing the angle right here on Jones. The Texans have the best starting possession of the day at the Jacksonville 44 after that gorgeous return by Jacoby Jones. Here's Schaub going deep downfield on a post pattern intended for Kevin Walter, covered by Rasheem Mathis.
Well, they didn't start fast on defense, and you look at that opening drive, but since they've been outstanding, you see good pressure up the middle from C.J. Mosley. They come right back. Collins has been getting pressure. Olulu on the inside. They've harassed him all day. They've not allowed him to set his feet. Of course, the big turnover that helped set up that touchdown right before the half.
How about the Jaguars allowing only 2 touchdowns the last 7 quarters? Ravens stifled on Monday night. This is Foster. Picked up 5.
I think one of the big reasons they've struggled a little bit, Marv, is they've not been able to run the ball as well as they have in the past on first down. And when they're able to run the ball and kind of dictate the pace and the flow of the game, then off of that comes the big plays with Schaub on the nakeds and the boots. And Jacksonville's done a good job containing both of these backs, and it's made it much more difficult for Schaub.
3rd down and 5. Derek Mason has flipped wide to the right. Schaub from the gun. Able to find Walter. Kevin Walter has been Schaub's favorite receiver this afternoon. DeJuan Landry made the stop. 16 yards on that pass play.
Well, they're really working on the middle of this defense, and they've run so many crossing routes. They're staying away from the corners, Cox and Mathis, and they're trying to work on these linebackers and safeties with the tight ends and the receivers inside.
Catch number 5 on the day for Kevin Walter.
Matt Schaub directed traffic. Get Jacoby lined up.
He has Foster with Vickers in the backfield. Rolling in trouble. Try to set up a screen. All right, for more on Arizona and Baltimore, JB and Shannon Sharp.
Baltimore trying to break out of its lethargy, Shannon.
JB, there's nothing that you can do with a perfect throw. And this is perfect between double coverage. And Quan Bolden hauls this in, leads to a Ray Rice touchdown, 24-13. The Ravens are trying to mount a comeback.
Let's see if the momentum continues. Back to Marv Albert and Rich Gannon.
Well, they need to get something going, guys, offensively after that dismal performance last week.
Foster straight ahead, met by Darryl Smith, the outside linebacker. So 5 more for Arian Foster coming off his spectacular day. To this point, 16 carries, 53 yards.
Well, what we haven't seen out of Arian Foster is the big run, the explosive run, the run of 20 yards or more. You look at this Jacksonville defense, that's an area where they've been better. They've eliminated the big plays. They lead the NFL in fewest big plays, 20 yards allowed. They were 30th in that area a year ago.
3rd down and 5. Schaub scooped up. Was it a catch? Yes. That's the indication. Owen Daniels, the tight end, able to adjust and come up with the reception.
Well, they get good pressure on Matt Schaub, and he's got to let go of this one a little bit early. You see the pressure from Posluszny. So he lets it go early, and now all of a sudden the tight end's got to make a spectacular catch. Good concentration there by Owen Daniels.
It is a 1st and goal from the 10. Foster and Vickers lined up in the I formation. Here's Foster, nice cut. Making his way to the 7, covered up by the right defensive end, Jeremy Mincy.
Well, you've got to be really disciplined against this Houston offense because they start you one way with these backs. The backs do a good job setting and making you work front side, and then they wind it right backside so quickly. So you've got to be very disciplined on the backside of runs.
Walter is flanked wide to the right. Foster following his blocker stop at the line by Darrell Smith. Arian Foster, 3 years ago, undrafted rookie on the practice squad. Last season, able to emerge. Led the NFL in rushing, 1,616 yards. Set franchise records in carries, touchdowns with 18. Rushing touchdowns, did it all. 3rd and goal. Schaub throws, end zone, touchdown. What a catch by Joel Dreesen, the backup tight end. Using his height, he goes 6'4". So Houston back on top.
Well, this will make you sick. You look at the pressure. Matt Schaub's got to let go of this one early as well. And Dwight Lowry is right there to make the play. And it just goes right through his hands. Joel Dreesen can't even believe it.
3rd touchdown reception of the season for Dreesen. Rackers adding the extra point. Short field for Houston, set up by that punt return by Jacoby Jones.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. McDonald's, I'm loving it. And by FedEx. FedEx does more than shipping. FedEx, solutions that matter.
They have been dressed in red throughout the day here in Houston. Red Battle Day. Fans encouraged to wear the Houston Texan red, and the Texans have moved in front 14-7. This is Kareem on the return, and excellent coverage by the Texans. 9 plays, 44 yards, 4 minutes and 7 seconds. Finished off by the touchdown pass to the tight end, Joel Dreesen. Jaguars start out from their 15th. 3rd time they have started out inside their own 20 this afternoon. They are trailing the Texans 14-7. Gabbert cannot find anyone. Try to secure that football as he runs it out.
Well, he does a nice job. They're trying to work down the middle of the field with the tight end, and it's not there. And this is what Blaine Gabbert can give you. For a big, taller quarterback, his ability to improvise and make some plays with his legs. Pretty good protection there, and he does a nice job sliding to his left. Now he realizes it's not there. He does the next best thing, picking up some positive yardage.
2nd down and 6. Now Gabbert hands it off, and once again they bottled up Jones-Drew. Connor Barwin leading the way, picked up 5. Getting back to Gabbert, we touched earlier on the problems with footwork and pocket presence, issues that usually are dealt with in the offseason, and there was limited time to work with Gabbert prior to this season. Will Rackley is hurt. Rackley subbing at left guard for Eben Britton, who's out with back problems.
They can't afford to lose another guard with Britton already out and now Rackley down.
We'll take a break. Back in a moment. Back in Houston, Will Rackley was helped off the field. He was subbing for Eben Britton at left guard. John Estes, considered a backup guard, backup center. Second-year man from Hawaii has come in. Jones-Drew. And again, they're preventing the big runs. Nico Ryans made the stop as Jones-Drew came up with 3.
Well, you go back to the previous play, you see the injury right in the middle of your screen. You see Rackley gets rolled up on, and just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Look at that right ankle.
Jones-Drew did pick up the first down. And here's the reverse. Flag is down. Mike Thomas on the run, coming left to right. But a penalty marker thrown. Just a 2-yard gain if it holds up.
Holding. Offense. Number 89. 10-yard penalty. First down.
That's the tight end, Mercedes Lewis.
I'll tell you, I'm watching it up here on my monitor. That looked pretty good to me. It's a great job getting his hands on him and just throwing him to the ground. Let's take a look at Mercedes Lewis. He just, right in your left side of your screen, just takes him and throws him down. Pretty good block there.
Sets it back to a 1st and 20 at the Jacksonville 18. Jones-Drew, 10 carries, only 35 yards. Gabbert out of the gun. Finds room on the pump fake. And now throws it away.
Well, there's nowhere to go there. I'm watching him move around. I'm looking downfield. Good job by that Houston secondary covering on the roll. Really a nice job. And see the frustration from Blaine Gabbert. You know, when he's dropped back today, Marv, there's been so much man-to-man coverage. You've got to trust that your receivers can win some of those one-on-one matchups, and they've not done it today against this Houston secondary.
2nd and 20. From the 18-yard line, again, Jones-Drew with nowhere to go. Was able to spin away, moving right to left. Ends up with a 2-yard pickup. Antonio Smith, D'Amico Ryans on the stop as we go to an update with JB Shannon Sharp.
Hey, Marv Albert, Steven Jackson of the Rams had everywhere to go.
JB, the New Orleans Saints was one of those immortal teams. What is their weakness? Rush defense. Steven Jackson, 17 carries, $110, 2 touchdowns as they're rolling over New Orleans, 24-0.
Wow, Marvin Rich, who would have thunk it?
Yeah, think about this, guys. The Rams have scored 5 touchdowns in 6 games coming into today's game.
3rd and 18 for Gabbert. Got the pass away, a leaping catch by Lewis, but well short of a first down. Bryce McCain on the coverage of Mercedes Lewis, just 3 on the pickup, and the punting unit will come on.
Well, Antonio Smith has done a really nice job today. He's not allowing Blaine Gabbert to set his feet, has to make an awkward throw, and not going to convert a lot of those 3rd and 18s in this business.
Jacoby Jones is back at his 31, 6th punt of the day for the Jaguars. Jones reeling off that 33-yard return, his last opportunity. This time he's taken down immediately. Good coverage. Kasim Osgood on the stop. 47-yard punt. No return. We'll be right back. Back in Houston, Texans will start out from their 28-yard line. Matt Schaub, who had his best game of his career last week against Tennessee, 18 of 23, 2 touchdowns, completed 18 of his final 20. Hands it off, and this is Tate fighting it whole and getting close to the marker, about a yard short. DeJuan Landry made the stop. It's a Houston team without their perennial Pro Bowl wide receiver, Andre Johnson, one of the NFL's best. 4th straight game he has missed with hamstring issues. It seems every week Gary Kubiak, the head coach, says, well, I think he might be able to be back this coming week. But I believe that is now a credible statement. They do expect him back next week for the Cleveland Browns. Tate. You can hear the pop off the collision when Tate runs all the way up here in our broadcast location.
Yeah, he's more of the physical pounder than Arian Foster, but getting back, Marv, to Andre Johnson, you know, he was able to do more in practice on Wednesday and Thursday, and Talking to Gary Kubiak, he just felt like he was not going to be ready on this weekend, so why practice him on Friday, get those other players some more reps? But he is getting close. And my sense is that he's got a good chance of playing next week.
Tate coming up short, still a 3rd and 1. Here is Foster trying, and no gain on the play. Texans have been very good in 3rd down scenarios. Converted the last 4, but not this time.
Well, Gary Kubiak is not happy with that group. When you can't make a 3rd and short, this is just getting stuffed. I think they're doing a wonderful job. Terrence Knighton has been awesome inside. He's gotten great push, and Gary Kubiak, that'll make you sick. You can't get a yard in a short yardage situation.
Mike Thomas back in the sunshine, calls for a fair catch. Jacksonville will start out at his 15, a 48-yard punt. Some are calling it one of the great games in recent years. Top-ranked LSU Tigers will visit the 2nd-ranked Alabama Crimson Tide. That'll be Saturday in prime time next Saturday right here on CBS Sports.
Well, so much at stake in that one. You think about it. I mean, you lose, you're essentially maybe out of the running for a national championship. 2 great SEC teams that long history of some great games together.
Jaguars start out from their 15-yard line. Let's see if they can get Maurice Jones-Drew going. He and Greg Jones in the backfield in an offset eye. Play action, and Gabbert incomplete, intended for the fullback Greg Jones.
I was listening to one of your stats that you were kind enough to share with me during the break. You were talking about Jacksonville had that high percentage, the highest percentage of rushes on 1st down, and yet we're seeing more throws on 1st down in this game. You're trying to break some tendencies.
Are you indicating that
I just jumped over and took a peek at your board there. You don't share information up here in the booth. Why don't you do that?
I actually try to cover up my information. It's like Rackley is back in at right guard. Here's Jones-Drew. It's like those days in Delaware as Jones-Drew picked up 3 yards where you'd be peeking around the corner and the excellent student sitting in front of you would be holding their arm, protecting their notes.
I always did my work. Were you suggesting that there was an integrity issue?
No, I would not.
You know, one of the problems that Maurice Jones-Drew is having right now, every time he touches the ball, there's a safety down in the hole. They're not blocking these safeties in the run game.
And now Jones-Drew flanks wide to the left, and once again Gabbert with the empty backfield. And try to make a change and calls for time. Looked like the rookie quarterback a little frustrated. He was trying to get the information out, then decided to take the time out. Well, Thursday on CBS, the mob wants him dead, so now he's getting a different kind of witness protection. Don't miss a new episode of the #1 news drama, A Person of Interest, Thursday, only CBS. Marv Albert, Rich Gannon. We are in Houston. Look at the quarterback stats in terms of rushing. Maurice Jones-Drew, 12 carries, 41 yards. Arian Foster has not exploded. He's had a solid day. And Kevin Walter with 5 catches, 70 yards. Coming up on 2 minutes to play in this 3rd quarter. Houston with a 14-7 lead, looking to stay on top in the AFC South. They're 4-3. Tennessee at 3 up, 3 down. They have the Colts this afternoon. It is incomplete. Jason Allen on the coverage of Mike Sims-Walker.
Well, here's an example of a cornerback in Jason Allen. He runs the route for him. Look at him coming right back underneath. The reason why? He knows he's got help over the top, so he's going to be very aggressive on those underneath routes.
7th punt coming up And Jacoby Jones has been very dangerous today. He's back at his 32-yard line. This one angled to the far side. No running room at all for Jones. 41-yard punt by Harris. Russell Allen on the coverage. So the ball back to the Texans. Follow the NFL while on the go. The NFL's mobile apps. All new for the 2011 season. To get the apps, go to nfl.com/mobile.
Well, you've got some good field position here. If you're Matt Schaub, you've got to take advantage of it. You're up by a touchdown against a divisional opponent. You've got to be able to put teams away when you have the opportunity.
Starting out from the 46-yard line, Foster. You can see he had that hop, but was not able to penetrate. Just a 3-yard gain. Alu and Knighton combined to make the tackle.
We saw how Arian Foster ran all over that Tennessee secondary last week, Marv. His longest run today, just 9 yards. So they've done a good job kind of bottling him up around the line of scrimmage.
And now Gary Kubiak sends Ben Tate out of the field, so Foster departs. The handoff to Tate has some running room, open field. Flag is down. Tate reaching to the Jacksonville 40-yard line, met by Drew Coleman and DeJuan Landry. He went for 10.
Holding, offense, number 83. 10-yard penalty, second down.
So they'll bring it back. It's on the wideout, Kevin Walter.
He had a difficult time trying to make that block on Derek Cox. And what you find when you play against two corners like Rashean Mathis and Derek Cox, they do a great job showing up and run support. They're very aggressive. Once they recognize that run is coming at them, they just drive. They drive on the backs. And that makes it very difficult for those receivers to block on the perimeter.
Houston head coach Gary Kubiak in his 6th season with the Texans. Critical year. Kubiak, John Elway's long-time backup. Schaub, diving attempt made by Daniels, and it is called incomplete. Not able to hang on. Gary Kubiak spent years as an assistant coach under Mike Shanahan.
Well, trying to make a good throw, and this ball clearly touches the ground. A couple of good looks at it right there. Well, Daniels tries to sell it, though. He's trying to sell it to the officials that he made that catch.
Arian Foster returns, 3rd down and 17. Schaub's pass deflected, incomplete. Batted away by Nate Collins, who then tried to chase it down, but could not get to it.
Well, Nate Collins does a nice job. They're trying to run the screen to Arian Foster, and the left side setting the edge, and Nate Collins, he just keeps coming. Then he tries to make a spectacular play by getting the deflection. You can see that screen set up with the offensive line out in front.
Brett Hartman with a beautiful punt. Mike Thomas at no angle along the sideline. 48-yard punt and a 7-yard return. Well, Houston with that 4-3 record, half game over Tennessee.
Well, they just can't generate any big plays as you look at this Jacksonville offense right now. 132 total yards. They're dead last in the league in production in yards, and the 3rd down has been a problem as well.
Titans have a 10-point lead on the Indianapolis Colts playing the 4th quarter. Gabbert could not find anyone. flag is down as Gabbert takes it out of bounds. He had that rib injury earlier, and you can see when he hit the ground, he was slow to get up. Brooks Reed putting the pressure on.
Personal foul, offense. Number 65, grabbing the face mask. Half the distance to the goal, first down.
Well, it's called on Will Rackley.
Well, Rackley comes back in, and you're going to see Barwin as he spins out right there. He just grabs a hold of that face mask, and then he lets it go, but it's just enough to kind of take Barwin out of the mix.
Ball is back at the Jacksonville 10. It's a 1st and 20 with time running down in this third quarter. Maurice Jones-Drew took a pretty good shot, did not go down, and brought out to the 20-yard line. Brought down by Jason Allen, picked up 9. That's the end of the third. Houston 14, Jacksonville 7. We'll be back in Houston after this message and a word from your local station. Marv Albert with Rich Gannon from Reliance Stadium in Houston. See the line score. Texans trying to hold on to the lead and hold on to the lead in the AFC South. As I mentioned a moment ago, the Titans bouncing back and lead the 0-7 Colts in the fourth quarter. Second down and 10 for Jacksonville from their 20. And again, Gabbert by himself. Empty backfield, and then moves up under center. Gabbert's throw is picked off. Intercepted by Jason Allen. Here's the return, and he stepped out. Jason Allen picking it off. It was intended for Mike Sims Walker. Allen with his 3rd interception of the season.
Well, here's what happens. He gets fooled. It's 2 deep high safeties, and the safeties are going to help over the top. And he knows that he's got one-on-one coverage, but in actuality, he doesn't. And that's why Allen is playing with underneath, knowing that he's got help from Troy Nolan over the top. And he gets fooled. They showed him all out, they backed out of it, and they gave him a 2 deep coverage.
He had stepped out at the 40. That's where the Texans start out. Flag comes flying. Here's Schaub. Completes to Jones. That's first down territory. Session with the hit. Pickup of 15, but there is a marker down.
Offside, defense, number 55. Penalty is declined. First down.
Clint Session offside.
Well, they've been trying to time up these blitzes with Session. You're going to see just there a little bit early. Do a nice job. You see the fullback coming in there, Vickers, to clean things up.
Lawrence Vickers getting the playing time this afternoon. 6-year man out of Colorado, former Cleveland Brown. He's been in the backfield with Foster for the most part. Here's the play fake to Foster. Nice play across the field. Dreesen working his way inside the 15-yard line. Tackled by DeJuan Landry. That's a 12-yard advance. And another Houston first down.
Well, they have so many plays that look the same, but yet are different in this offense. And they run the stretch, and they run the stretch, and then they run the zone, and then off of that, Schaub pulls it back out and comes out on the bootleg. And it's very difficult for a defense because the release for the tight end, whether it's run or pass, looks exactly the same.
Schaub now 15 of 29, 195 yards. Looking at a first down. Arian Foster able to break his way inside the 10. Stopped by Clint Session.
Well, they do a nice job with the power play. You see the guard come around and kick out. Arian Foster, very decisive, does a great job running over his paths and always seems to be falling forward at the end of runs.
Second down and 6 at the Jacksonville 9-yard line. Then it is Foster. Stopped by Landry coming up from safety position. Picked up 5-6 on the play. Ball is spotted just inside the 4, so it's a third and about a yard.
Well, he is so quick to the hole, and then once he gets in the hole, his vision. And I've been so impressed how decisive he is. Just hits it right downhill and doesn't waste a lot of time at or around the line of scrimmage.
Now the Texans decide to call for time with 12:37 remaining in the fourth. Critical play right here. Houston with a 3rd and 1 from the 4-yard line.
Remember how upset Gary Kubiak was last time they got stuffed in this situation.
Kubiak has Foster and Vickers.
Big fullback in there.
Lined up in the eye. Goes to Foster following Vickers, and he is in for the touchdown. Arian Foster from 4 yards out extends the Texan lead.
Well, Darrell Smith's got to set the edge, and he can't get hooked, and Lawrence Vickers does that. Paz Leslie's got to keep on coming. Arian Foster keeps bouncing this thing to the edge. They made that look too easy, and Lawrence Vickers has done a really nice job opening up a lot of holes today for these halfbacks.
Racker's on for the extra point. 5 plays, 40 yards in 2 minutes, 20 seconds for the touchdown. Rackers puts it through. Houston in front of Jacksonville, 21-7. Better than 71,000 here at Reliance Stadium. We're early 4th quarter. The Texans taking a 21-7 lead. Brett Hartman will kick it away to Deji Kareem. Takes the high hop. Kareem with the return. Trying to squeeze his way through as he gets across the 20-yard line, 24-yard return. Tonight on 60 Minutes, what did Bernie Madoff's family know about the biggest financial fraud in history? Well, you'll hear it all when his wife and son break their silence on 60 Minutes. Tonight, only CBS. Gabbert, 8 for 23, 78 yards. Rich, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. But in this second half, just 1 of 6 for 3 yards.
No, he's not looked good. He's not looked comfortable back there in the pocket. Now they've got to open things up and let him throw the ball here a little bit in the 4th quarter.
Jones-Drew standing alongside and has nowhere to go. D'Amico Ryans right there, and it's a loss of 3.
Well, they don't even block Connor Barwin on the end man on the line of scrimmage, and then he's the first guy there. D'Amico Ryans, I mean, it's just there's nowhere to go for Maurice Jones-Drew today.
2nd and 13. Gabbert in trouble. Incomplete, intended for Jones-Drew.
Well, if you're the play caller, Dirk Cutter, and we talked to him last night, and this is his first time coaching a rookie quarterback, Marv, and I think he told us last night that his job as the play caller is for him not to lose the game. In other words, you don't want to put the young quarterback in too many bad situations. But I think there's a fine line between being too conservative with them and too aggressive. And at some point, you got to turn them loose, and you got to let the guy go play and make the mistakes.
3rd down, 13. Threw a bullet, but not handled. It was deflected by Quinn. However, Quinn got a piece of it intended for the tight end, Martin Rucker.
Well, this is good protection, and you've got to sit in there, and you've got to be able to make this throw. There's the tight end. Put it in front of him. Don't throw it on the back shoulder. We've seen at least a half dozen throws today from Blaine Gabbert behind the receivers. Accuracy is an issue right now with this quarterback.
Once again, Jacoby Jones in the Sunfield portion, and this one carries out of bounds. 11:35 remaining in the fourth. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Look at Jacksonville defensive end Matt Roth, who has had a tumultuous 24 hours. Took a 6 a.m. flight this morning. We'll get back to that in a moment. And off to Foster. Getting across the 45, stopped by Darrell Smith. Foster picked up 7. Matt Roth's wife, Brooke, gave birth to their son, Brock, yesterday. Brock weighing in at 8 pounds, 12 ounces. So Matt was allowed to take the early morning flight. Ran into him earlier, gave me a cigar. He said, I have nothing for Rich.
I was going to say, where's my cigar?
I said, is Rich still with you? I said, I believe he is. He's upstairs.
Try to stay out of your way, brother.
He was rehearsing for the report on the NFL Today show. Arian Foster has a first down, picked up 3.
Well, hasn't been the type of day that we've come to expect from this Jacksonville defense. And part of the problem, Marv, is they've been on the field a lot. And the offense has really struggled running the football, and certainly struggled converting third downs, and that's a problem. Right now, talking to Jack about this last night, I asked him about, you got to be more balanced offensively. He said, we are. He said, we're good for about $1.25 each week, rushing and throwing the football.
First down at midfield. Foster running well here in the fourth quarter, but this time he's shoved out of bounds by Darrell Smith. Just a yard pickup. Once again, let's check in with JB and Shannon Sharp.
You can always count on that Baltimore D, Shannon.
Something happens good, JB. You're right. Terrell Suggs get the pressure. Jamil McClain gets the INT. Anquan Bolden interfered in the end zone. Ray Rice on a 3-yard TD run. And we got a tie ball game, JB, 27-27.
Boy, a battle going on there. Back to Marv Albert and Rich Gannon.
Well, the Ravens looking to turn it from what took place this past Monday night against these Jacksonville Jaguars. Play is blown dead.
False start. Offense, number 65. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
And it's called on the right guard, Mike Brizell. 5th penalty against the Texans. It's cost them 40 yards. Ben Tate now back on the field, replacing Arian Foster. Coming up on 9.5 minutes to go in this fourth quarter, and a commanding 21-7 lead for the Texans. Tate with a good second effort and finds the hole. Caught from behind, but has a first down and then fumble. White Lowry on the recovery and takes it back across the 45, and a penalty marker is down. So a nice run by Tate, and then he lost the ball.
After the fumble was recovered, personal foul, low block, defense. It would be against Houston. It's 15-yard penalty from the end of the run. First down.
Landry causing the fumble. Lowry on the pickup.
Well, it's actually a great run. I mean, now at the end, he never feels Landry right there, and he rips it out. You got to decide whether or not his knee was down before the ball comes out. Let's take a look. Well, it looks like to me it's coming out. And then right there, Dwight Lowry right there. It's just good patience, and now he never feels the safety come back and try and rip that one out. Looks like that ball's already starting to come out, though. So Gary Kubiak probably going to challenge that one. Absolutely.
Challenge flag thrown, and they will take a look.
Houston is challenging the ruling on the field.
We take another look as we head to a commercial break. Well, they're checking out the replay. A challenge flag thrown again by Gary Kubiak.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands.
And Rich, this also means that the Texans
Houston is charged with a timeout.
Are out of challenges. They lost one back in the first half, and as you heard, they're charged with a timeout.
Yeah, and it was so hard. We went back and looked at it a number of different times, and it's so hard to tell when he begins to lose control of the ball. And, you know, you're trying to protect a 14-point lead, and now all of a sudden you give a team like Jacksonville another opportunity.
Well, let's see if the Jaguars can take advantage. They're down 21-7. First and 10 at the Houston 26-yard line. Jones-Drew finding a hole. Goes for 5. J.J. Watt makes the stop.
Well, their only other score of the day, Marv, came off of some good fortune from a turnover by their defense. Another turnover here. The good offenses can take advantage of these opportunities and score on these short fields.
Let's score. 5-yard touchdown pass. Gabbert to Hill. Here's Jones-Drew battling his way. You mentioned the work of the defense. That was a razzle-dazzle play off the forced fumble. Clint Session was able to bat it free and then ended up at the other end of the play.
You talk about a low center of gravity with the backlight, Maurice Jones-Drew, and he always seems to be pumping those legs and falling forward at the end of runs. Tough guy to bring down on the open field because he's so strong.
Picked up the first down, the ball at the Houston 13. Once again, it's Jones-Drew trying to get to the outside, but he slipped. No gain on the play. Antonio Smith, the right side defensive end, on the cover-up.
Keep giving him carries. You see Ernest Biner there, his running back coach, a guy that I played with in Washington, a very good one.
17 carries, 61 yards for Jones-Drew, who's now replaced by Deji Kareem. Quick throw by Gabbert, penalty down. Mike Thomas on the reception, but a flag. Picked up 7.
Offside, defense number 94 in the neutral zone at the snap, 5-yard penalty, second down.
It is on Antonio Smith of the Texans.
Well, when you got an offense that's struggling, I mean, you just can't keep giving them opportunities and breaks like this. Antonio Smith has got such a quick first step off the ball. He's been trying to get off on Blaine Gabbert's cadence. Seen a couple times today where this defense has been in the neutral zone.
Thomas's flank to the right side. Second down and 5. Here's Jones-Drew, or rather Kareem, trying to slide his way through. And some pushing and shoving. Just a 1-yard pickup as Cushing was right there. And Rich, I would think, because Jacksonville has so many problems scoring, this is not a situation where you're looking for 3 points, looking for a field goal. You want to put the 7 up.
Absolutely, in this situation. And Wouldn't be surprised with the way they're struggling to see them be in 4-down territory and go for it on 4th down.
3rd down and 4. Now Jones-Drew has returned. Gabbert taking a timeout. The snap comes flying, but time was called before. Brad Meester, the center, snapped it.
Well, the interesting thing, Marvin, you and I talked to Dirk Cutter last night. The offensive coordinator was up in the booth. He actually spent some time calling plays from the sidelines. And you can see right in the middle of your picture there, Mike Shepard, the quarterback's coach. The plays get called to Dirk Cutter. Then they come down to this gentleman right here behind us, Mike Shepard, and he's the quarterback coach. So that takes a few extra seconds, and then you've got to call it into the quarterback. And as a quarterback, I preferred to have the play caller on the sidelines. Now, Dirk Cutter, he prefers to be up in the booth where he feels like he can see more of the game and more of the field. But what he can't do up there is tell the young quarterback why he's calling plays in certain situations and give him tips and reminders. That's what's lost in translation.
Yeah, I would think too many people getting involved does not help the quarterback. This confuses the issue. Jaguars are down to 1 timeout remaining. All right, here is Gabbert for the end zone, and it is broken up. Intended for Jason Hill. Jonathan Joseph got a piece of it. And it brings up a 4th down and 4.
Well, the only thing you can say here is this is a really good play by Jonathan Joseph. I mean, a good throw, puts it on the receiver, Jason Hill, but Jonathan Joseph in there just it's a great job getting that right arm in there and knocking it out.
Marv Albert with Rich Gannon. We welcome those of you who have just joined us. Houston has a 21-7 lead on Jacksonville. 6 minutes remaining in this 4th quarter. 4th down and 4. Gabbert goes underneath looking for the 1st down. Mike Thomas made the catch. We'll have to see where they spot it. It appears he picked it up. It is a Jaguar 1st down.
Well, they do a nice job in this bunch set. Just keep an eye on Mike Thomas. He's going to wait. He's going to be the last receiver out. He's going to let the first 2 go and kind of set a screen for him. He works right back up under the 2 receivers.
1st and goal for the Jaguars. Maurice Jones-Drew in the backfield. Cuts to his left, and he scores. For Jones-Drew, his first running touchdown on the road since back in November of 2009, and the Jaguars, who come off that stunning win Monday night against the Ravens, right back in it against a Texan team that is 4-3 and trying to hold on to the lead in the AFC South.
Well, they break contain. You can see Jonathan Joseph, he gets sucked up inside. Same with Barwin. Someone's got to be on the edge and force Maurice Jones-Drew back up inside.
Josh Scobie for the extra point. 7 plays, 26 yards in just under 4 minutes. See the time remaining. It is now Houston 21 and Jacksonville 14. Maurice Jones-Drew not having the kind of night he had on Monday against Baltimore, but he's picked it up in the second half with 18 carries overall, 63 yards.
Well, somebody's got to come outside and contain. You've got a linebacker and a safety. And what happens is everyone's back up inside. Barwin gets sucked back under, Jonathan Joseph, and you can't do this. This is too good of a player like that, Maurice Jones-Drew. Somebody's got to be on the edge to contain and force him back where you have help inside.
This is a Houston team playing without their Pro Bowl wide receiver Andre Johnson. They hope he's back next week for Cleveland. outstanding linebacker Mario Williams out for the rest of the season. They came up with the huge win last week, 41-7 over Tennessee. Kendrick McManus lets it fly by. They'll bring it out to the 20 on the touchback. And here comes Matt Schaub. For those who may have just joined us, Matt Schaub able to run it in. And here's that razzle-dazzle play made by Clint Session, leading to the touchdown pass to Jason Hill. And then Arian Foster with the score. Tate with the fumble this moments ago. This was reviewed, and it led to the touchdown that you saw, scored by Jones-Drew. Arian Foster gets the call, picked up 3.
Well, all you're trying to do here, Marv, is make a few first downs and take some time off the clock and get your big back cranked up. It's been a kind of a frustrating day for Arian Foster and for Gary Kubiak. They talk about having so much balance offensively, but not the kind of production that they were looking for and expecting on the ground.
See the numbers, 27 carries, 86 yards for Foster, coming off that huge day last week in the win over the Titans. Second down and 7. Foster has not been able to break one. We saw a different Arian Foster a week ago. Picked up just 2 on that play. Coming up, time permitting, after the game, the NFL Today update presented by Verizon. Join JB, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, and Coach Bill Cowher for all the latest NFL scores and highlights.
Well, it's not just been on the ground for Arian Foster. Think about how lethal he was last week in the passing game. And they've not been able to get him the ball on the perimeter or in the screen game where he can be such a big weapon for this Houston offense.
Third down and 5 for the Texans. Only 1 catch to this point by Foster. Wide open, Owen Daniels. Owen Daniels caught from behind at the Jacksonville 45 by Chris Brzezinski, the backup safety. And that's a 30-yard pass play and a big one with 3.5 to play.
Well, somebody blows an assignment. They wind up bringing the linebacker and the safety. When he short motions across the formation, I think there's a communication issue there. No one covers Owen Daniels. A nice job making that catch in front of the umpire.
4th reception of the day for the tight end Owen Daniels. Foster the lone setback. First down for Houston. Foster with a dive play inside the 45, picked up 2. Houston Texans at 4-3. With the win, they hold on to the lead in the AFC South, a very weak AFC South. Tennessee in front of Indianapolis last we heard, home for the Colts. Jacksonville comes in at 2-5.
Well, they got a favorable schedule the rest of the way. Marv, when you look at Houston, their last 9 games, they only play 3 teams with a winning record.
Second down and 8. Foster, this time able to make the turn. Has a first down across the 30. One of the better runs of the day for Arian Foster as he got to the edge, made the cut. Dwight Lowry with the tackle. It's a 14-yard advance. 2 minutes left, 4th quarter. A reminder, coming up next, Tom Brady and his Patriots take on Big Ben and the Steelers. Patriots 5-1, and the Steelers at 5 up and 2 down. Browns go up against the 49ers, or it's the Bengals and the Seahawks. Check your local listings. Foster and Vickers in the backfield, 1st and 10 for the Texans at the Jacksonville 30-yard line. Foster running well in this 4th quarter. Foster going over 100 yards for the 12th time. That is tops in franchise history. Picks up 3 more right here. So 31 carries, 107 yards. And a timeout is taken by Jacksonville. That's their final timeout.
Well, as I look at this Houston team, Marv, I've been so impressed with their offense. I think the big story has been how well the defense has played this year under Wade Phillips. And I think clearly they're the class of the division right now. What they've got to be able to do is be better in November. I mean, as we get through the month of October here, the last 2 seasons, the month of November has not been kind to them. They lost 4 in November in 2009. They lost all 4 games last year in the month of November. And a little bit of momentum now, but got to be able to avoid the late season lulls in November.
And they certainly had late season woes a year ago. Play action, and Foster gets to the 25 in an advance of 3. Well, next week, Texans home for the Cleveland Browns, then at Tampa Bay, followed by the bye week, and they resume at Jacksonville on the 27th of November. You look at Gary Kubiak, the head coach of the Houston Texans in his 6th season, long-time backup to John Elway in Denver.
Well, he's done a really nice job with this organization, addressing the offensive line, getting that straightened out, bringing in Matt Schaub and developing him into a Pro Bowl player, and then I think finally addressing the defense this year with Wade Phillips.
Foster, Arian Foster, with a 3-yard advance, stopped by Matt Roth. On the other side, you have Jack Del Rio, head coach of the Jaguars. Teammate of yours when you were with the Minnesota Vikings a couple of years.
He was a very good player, very smart player, hardworking guy. And Houston just run the clock down here and take a timeout. We'll talk about the decision whether they kick the field goal here. That's what you do. You put your kicker on there and let him kick it.
And now there's the timeout, and the Texans using their final timeout with just 23 seconds to play. So Neil Rackers will attempt from 40 yards out. Earlier missed from 46 on the season. He is 14 of 16. Houston holds on for this win, and it would take a dramatic turn of events if they are to be beaten here. They'd go to 5-3. They've won their last 2 after losing 2 in a row, and Texans would remain a half game in front of Tennessee. This a 39-yard attempt officially. High snap, well handled, and it is put through. So Rackers connects from 39 yards out. Houston with a 10-point lead, only 18 seconds to go. The Jaguars will drop to 2-6, not able to build on that Monday night win over the Baltimore Ravens.
Well, they got some things they need to fix offensively. You know, it's so hard when you're one-dimensional. Right now, it's Maurice Jones-Drew and nobody else. And the young quarterback has struggled as we watched him here today, Marv. His footwork's not been great. And he's been a little tentative in the pocket. And he's got to learn to sit in there with a tough jaw and make the tough throws down the field. That's what they're counting on him to do. And he also needs some help from the people around him. You know, think about Maurice Jones-Drew. He's the tight end. Been very quiet so far this season. Mercedes Lewis, the receivers Jason Hill and Mike Thomas. That guy had 10 touchdowns a year ago, went to a Pro Bowl this year. Just 11 catches coming into today's game and no touchdowns. Well, everybody's got to play better around him.
AJ Kareem is back deep. Hartman puts it on the ground. And I think that caught the Jaguars by surprise. 17 seconds to go. Getting back to the subject of the rookie quarterback Blaine Gabbert, when you say tentative in the pocket, which indicates he's a bit timid at this point, Is that something that can be changed? Have you seen guys who, as you would put it, were tentative in the pocket, suddenly able to be strong in the pocket and hang in and take hits?
Well, I think what's happening is there's so much that's going on around them. I think the speed of the game, I think that there's some uncertainty in terms of understanding protections, where you're vulnerable, where you need to step up, understanding what's happening in terms of the route concepts. I think it's just too much for him right now. You can just see him struggling in this offense.
This time with the Texans providing a lot of room. Pass completed to the tight end, Mercedes Lewis. Stopped by Marvin Quinn.
The challenge, Marv, anytime you're dealing with a rookie quarterback, is just trying to find concepts that he's got a history with. What he did at Missouri. We saw some empty no-back stuff, in the game where, that's what he did a lot of in college. You've seen a lot of shotgun, 3 and 4 wide receiver sets. But then you get away from what you do best, and that's hand the ball to Maurice Jones-Drew.
Whoa, that was nearly picked off as Blaine Gabbert overthrew, and Jonathan Joseph had a chance at an interception. It was intended for Jason Hill, and just 3 seconds remaining in the game.
Yeah, that could have been a house call. And we've seen a couple times today where there's been some confusion between the receivers in the back. The other thing is the accuracy that kind of concerns you a little bit. I think some of it can be traced to footwork and timing and those things, but boy, he's got to get better in terms of his accuracy and his location on throws.
And Gabbert looking to fire one down, and that'll do it. He ends up 10 of 30, just 97 yards. So Houston over Jacksonville 24-14. They go to 5-3. They remain on top of the AFC South. Coming up next, game 2 of the NFL on CBS doubleheader. For Rich Gannon, I'm Marv Albert saying so long from Houston. You've been watching the NFL on CBS.